My name is Abena Boamah Achompong. I am 30 years old, she, her pronouns. I'm Ghanaian, raised in Ohio, born in DC. I don't think I can think about my upbringing without thinking of my identity as a Ghanaian, a first-generation child in America. That upbringing, it's really shaped my understanding of what privileges that gives me. Definitely the biggest inspiration is the fact that I just love to be good at shit. Like, I really do. Like, from being a child, I ran track and I was a high jumper. I was like #2 in the state. Like, I love to be like the best. I own a business, I manage people. I think I just like to curate experiences where people can learn. My experience as a teacher, it led me to understand what my true passions was about educating people. It led me to understand that though it's like my passion and purpose, it doesn't need to be in this exact system or in this space. I feel like makeup is for enhancement, right? It's so exciting to see people transform, but I think at the same time too, if people are utilizing filters on a daily basis every day that you can never see how their face really looks like, I think it's an issue. When you're looking at yourself through a filter, you can't really see who you really are as a person. Hana was inspired by a lot of things. I think just in general curiosity. When it comes to shea butter, I was just so interested in like just the process. It was definitely inspired by Black women, from my mom to like just my friends and the people that I saw around me, creating these like moments and brands that were intentional for us. I feel like Black women are already the power behind beauty brands anyways. It's the acknowledgement, right? And it's like the intentionality that beauty brands don't give to Black women, because it's like this afterthought. They're either the indigenous women that are creating the raw materials. The net worth of the beauty industry, makeup of it, 75% is coming from Black women globally. Without us, what would this beauty space really be?
My name is Amira Jazeera. I'm 21 years old and I moved to Chicago by myself after I graduated high school with a basket full of clothing, and now I'm here. I think resilience is just being your true authentic self and not conforming to systematic ideals of what is expected of you. Growing up being bullied for having a very Arab nose and thinking that it wasn't normal and thinking I was ugly because I didn't look like these Eurocentric standards. I think it really shaped me and made me more resilient into loving myself and just being proud of who I am. Representation is important to me because I did not see that as a kid growing up. There wasn't a Palestinian pop star. I was into Hannah Montana, and that was like, you know, this little white girl who had a wig on and blue eyes and blonde hair. I wanted to see like someone like me, and that's why I think it influenced me to pursue my art, because little girls like that need someone to look up to be like, yeah, I can do that. I think freedom to me is living life to the fullest and being a divine human being, not caring what anyone says about you, and just loving, you know, that's what I would say. So, yeah, I identify as first, I'm Palestinian and a woman, and I'm queer, first generation, just like brought up and kind of suppressing that identity of mine where I was just like afraid to really be myself, until I like found other girls that were like me and they're very confident in themselves. And it made me feel more confident in myself because I saw that, and that representation was around, you know. You can be yourself and just do you. Palestinian women, we are very strong and resilient. The media portrays Palestine as like this broken country, when that's not true. There's so much beauty to a Palestinian woman. Our identities are very mixed up, but there's so many different versions of us, and I think it's beautiful. An affirmation that I live by: I have everything that I need, and if I don't, it will come to me. If I could speak to my younger self, I would tell them to go after my dreams and to not care about what anyone thinks, and just do it, do your thing.
My name is Danielle Davis. I go by she, her. I'm 21 and I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. Before, I was very self-conscious about going out into society without my wig because I was afraid of how people would look at me. I have alopecia universalis, which is where your immune system thinks that your hair is a disease, so it kills the follicles. It's made me really realize that self-love is very important because without that, I don't think I would have been able to get through this. I've rebelled from society's perception of beauty by being authentically me every day. Not wearing a wig, embracing my beautiful baldness. I express my femininity in my style. I love getting up in the morning and asking myself, what do I want to be today? My mother is probably my biggest supporter. She's always told me to be always authentically me and to never doubt myself. Resilience to me is being myself and living my life to the fullest and being able to show other people that you can be different without feeling insecure.
My name is Keith McHenry. I'm 25. I'm transgender, so I use he and they pronouns, and I'm from Marshalltown, Iowa. I was just angry when I was younger. I was just growing up in a small town, and I mean, for reasons like that I had yet to discover, I was super angry. I think a lot of it had to do with like gender and standards I was holding myself to, and standards I thought other people were holding me to. Freedom to me personally is just the ability to do what I want to with my life and my body. Society really shaped my perception of beauty. Being a 2000s kid, I felt like everything around me was really feminine, and there was a lot of like uptake and care that you had to put into your beauty routines that I absolutely took part of because I was 13 and wanted to fit in, but that I hated taking part in. I feel so hesitant to define femininity because it can kind of be what you make it. I think the most important part of it is just like being in touch with my own emotions and like not being afraid to share that with others and like lean on other people, which I feel like is something that traditionally isn't a very like masculine feature, even though it should be. So trans representation in media has mostly been bad. It's really hard to find good representation. Like I will subscribe to a TV service for like a month if I find out that a show has one episode with a trans character on it. Representation has helped me kind of find my own story. Even though a lot of narratives will follow the same direction and like the same things will happen, it's so important to have these stories that just aren't linear and where things are complicated or things are messy. And I think just like the more and more of those that are out there, the easier it gets for everybody else to decide what they want to do. BYOB, build your own body.
My name is Lino. My pronoun is he, and my hometown would be Wheaton. What resilience means to me is never stopping, just having the determination to like get what you want. If someone were to see me as a color, I would say black. That's my skin tone and it's not really seen or heard as often. Growing up, my parents came to this country to try to provide me with the American dream and going to college and doing things systematically, but I learned that I was just different and unique. I could pursue that versus the traditional methods. Grew up in a town, you don't really see too much color in a sense of going to the grocery store, I wouldn't really see people of my color. I never really was drawn towards appreciating my skin tone, who I was, and the challenges that I had persisted were kind of just overcoming the unknown. After one of my first beauty shoots, I came home with some makeup on, showing my parents that there was a way of life different from what they had thought and dreamed of. If there isn't enough Black people in your community, maybe you need to be the one that is the light for others. Other people that are in a similar situation like me can relate to that and feel like inspired by it in a sense. Being able to express that now and connect with my parents in a new way is such a good feeling.
My name is Priya, Shah, she, her. My hometown's Oak Park, Illinois, and I am 34.
Resilience to me is that ability of finding the everyday good within our lives and within ourselves. My parents didn't know I was going to be born with one hand. The umbilical cord went around one of my hands, and so it stopped the development of it.
When you meet somebody and you can see the first thing that they look at is your hand for an extensive period of time before looking at your eyes or who you are as a human, that is how they are assessing you, based through that lens, and it's the most challenging thing because you realize like now there is a barrier that's set between this human and me. I just want to be seen as normal because that's all I really wanted, since I was a kid.
I run and found an arts nonprofit called The Simple Good. One of the reasons why I do what I do is when I was younger, I had a really unique opportunity to work at Mother Teresa's orphanage, which I think it was a very powerful experience for me because there were children that had gone through more than I had, and still they had this ability to see beauty within other people. It made me reflect upon myself and try to understand why I saw the world so negatively. And once I unleashed that process, it really shifted the understanding of who I was and not listening to, what society tells you about what you don't have.
I think activism in the recent years has been pretty reactive. If you're feeling that you're proactive, you are acknowledging that there's a lack of it already. People have been trying to get more involved in community, which is wonderful, and challenging their vanishing points and their perspectives, which is something that we need to do all the time. For people that don't have visible disabilities like me, but may have other disabilities that we all can't see, I think that we all have a shared experience of feeling doubted and feeling limited about who we can really be. Well, I hope that everything that I do provides examples to others that may not be born perfectly, should also find confidence, not only in your physical, but just who you are as a person. And that is actually what matters.
My name is Shaheem. I go by they, them. I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and I am 24. I believe in taking risk. I believe in taking leaps of faith before there is a safety net. Sometimes you just have to leap and then the safety net will appear. To be non-binary, to me, means to not be put into a box, to not have to live the way society wants me to live. Everyone sees apples and oranges. I see fruit. You see boys and girls. I see people. I don't like to be put into a box. I like a broader definition because I don't like rules. I don't like limitations. Yeah. I just remember one day just playing dress up, you know, like as kids do, and that was the first time that I put on a dress and heels, because, you know, they had a plethora of different clothes you could choose from, and that's what came to me naturally as a kid. And I remember putting that on. The teacher like kicked me out and was like, you can't be in here doing that. That made me like hide who I was and made me feel ashamed instead of like, okay, this is good, this is accepted. So I wish I could tell that kid, like, what you're doing is okay, it's fine, like, this is who you are, just keep being that. You know, we all have highs and lows, but to truly love yourself is important, because once you do, it's like an armor. Like, no one can penetrate that. They can't shake you, because you're like, this is who I am, I love myself, fuck your opinion, I'm good. Materialistic things don't equate to gender, but sometimes they help us confirm who we are on the inside. I always say my favorite time of the day is getting dressed in the morning, because that's how I decide how I want to present, how I want to give myself to the world today. So try it all and try everything, and don't be ashamed of who you are, because everyone will try to put you down, literally everybody, but so fun.
Bonjour, Shiraz Bhatti Indigenikas Mukwa Ndodum Waswaganing and Donziba. Hello, my name is Shiraz Bhatti. I'm Bear Clan from Lac du Flambeau Indian Reservation. I'm Ojibwe and Pakistani. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm 29 years old. Pivotal moment for me in my life was leaving Paris, where I grew up, and moving to Wisconsin, being on the reservation with my grandpa, and just walking around and him telling me stories of different areas and animals and like what our ancestors did on that land, and it made me feel really connected. When I was a kid, I had short hair and frosted tips so I could look like Justin Timberlake. But as I grew up, I realized what my ancestral beauty was. Long hair was a big part of it, which in itself felt like a rebellion against a common society. So I grew out my hair and started braiding it, and that's when I started really feeling powerful and truly comfortable in my own skin. Self-love to me looks like recognizing the beauty within who I am, which means breaking away from colonial ideas of beauty and bringing back what my ancestors saw was beautiful. Only when certain people join in on certain struggles is when the media really talks about it. Like the Keystone Pipeline was a terrible, terrible thing. Something just as bad is happening now that the media is not talking about. Line 3 in northern Minnesota, this pipeline is being built in the headwaters of the Mississippi River, and it's gonna contaminate the water there, which run through the entire nation and would contaminate all of our waters. Listen to the indigenous people, because we have stories and wisdom on the land here, and they'll help the world through healing the land. I hope that through my modeling career and my music career can make a young boy or girl feel really proud of who they are and feel like there's people like you in the world, you know?
My name is Tanya Lozano. I'm 31 years old. My pronouns are she, her, and my hometown is Pilsen, Chicago. So if I would describe myself in 3 words, it would be mother, activist, and healer. The definition of resilience to me would be understanding that there's always going to be bumps in the road. They're actually the bumps that push you to the right direction. And if you look at it that way, then you'll just become stronger. That's what resilience is. One of the most profound memories that I have as a child growing up is when Elvira Arellano went into sanctuary at our church. She had a son, and if they were to deport her, the son would either have to go with her to a country he's never known or be here without his mom. And so my dad opened up the doors to the church, said, if you want her, you gotta come through the doors of the Lord to come get her. And I remember like that went international. Like it didn't matter how small it was. It just mattered that somebody did it, and it changed everything. It was like, you can have impact. I want that energy, I wanna be that energy. You know what I mean? I wanna just be free to be myself and unapologetic about it, but also super righteous and inclusive.
I think society's perception of beauty has always been very different than what I was taught beauty was. I was told as a little girl always by my parents that I was beautiful because I was a brown girl and because of where I come from. And so I would say that I rebel against the standard of beauty that society tries to shove down our throats. My parents taught me that we are beautiful no matter how we look, no matter who we are. Representation to me is being able to see yourself in something. But maybe not just see yourself, but also like feel like you're a part of it. And I think so often we do try to see the differences. For me, it's more about finding the similarities and what brings us together as opposed to looking at the things that divide us. Community architect to me is someone who can build community wherever they go. Everyone has a role, and you don't have to necessarily do anything new to be a part of community or to build community or even activate community. For me, self-love is being in community.
My name is Tiger Lily. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am 32 and I'm from Chicago. Freedom to me is just being your best self, you know, wearing whatever you want, pursuing whatever you want, whether that be career or people or relationships, whatever. Just putting it all out there, you know, like I'm not scared of anything, honestly. So that's what freedom is to me, like no fear. Woo! I've had so many shitty things happen to me in life, and I roll with the punches. I just deal with things. I've lost both of my parents. My mom, our connection, you know, she's divine feminine energy to me, and losing my mom changed my life forever. I just know that the universe has my back. That's what resilience is. It's just moving forward no matter what. I'm not the European beauty standard. Like, I'm plus size, I'm queer, I'm biracial. There's always gonna be haters, but then there's also people who look at me and they see themselves in me. I didn't really feel like I had a place in this world until I found my queer community, and especially my house. I'm part of Maison Coulée. One of my favorite quotes is like, a rising tide raises all ships. So like, we lift each other up. When I see one of my sisters going super hard, that makes me want to work hard. I have a lot of people who look up to me and who tell me that by seeing me just live my life and be myself, that they've gained a lot of confidence through that, and that's so special and important to me. So I have to be the representation that I didn't have growing up.